Greetings, everyone. Long time no talk. I've been up to probably trying to gain more of an understanding of what I've been going through spiritually. I know this might be a taboo subject for some. I'm not going to talk about anything really religious per se. So I don't think spirituality is a religion. It's more of a knowing and understanding about certain things you believe in that maybe atheists don't. Not necessarily a belief in God, but a belief in a afterlife or something. Sure. And I'm not here to convince anyone to believe what I believe. Please remember that. I don't care if you're an atheist or, whatever tradition you follow or whatever faith you have. But what I do know is each and every one of us does have a purpose. But I don't know what my purpose is really either. Maybe it's talking about this. Maybe it was my activism. Maybe it was everything that I've done. It's kind of a mind-boggling question. What is your purpose here? And some people don't even believe we have a purpose here. But there's purpose all around us if you really look at it. There's a purpose to this computer I'm using. There's a purpose to why my eyes open and close. There's a purpose to all life that's been on this planet. There's not one useless thing. What I do want to talk about is there's some stuff that I've gone through, and it's probably why I haven't posted in a long time, because I really am coming to grips with what I'd like to term as a spiritual ego. Is it my place to really tell people what I've been through? Is it my place to extrapolate onto you what, my experiences have been? I feel pulled to come out with it and talk about it. But yet again, I don't want to damage any type of belief structure that anybody has either, because that's sacred to you. Even atheism is sacred to an atheist, really. It's kind of their own religion. They have their own dogma about it. Everything has a dogma, including sometimes even spirituality. I mean, there's the bad side to everything, isn't there? Bad side to Christianity, bad side to Islam, bad side to Judaism, bad side to, whatever you want to make a bad thing can be bad, really. And I'm rambling a little bit, but I think I should start off by talking a little bit about Anonymous, why I was kind of pulled towards it. I think there was something in place, and this happens to everybody. Things fall into place for people. Good and bad things fall into place, don't they? I'd say right around 2009, 2010, I heard about Anonymous, and around 2010, I really became active in it. And I was elated because something pulled me about decentralized resistance that didn't pull me with just getting out there and protesting with the masses like I usually did. When I did get involved with the activism, it was soul-wrenching, seeing people all over the world suffer the way they did. I was getting adrenaline rushes off of the operations, and even seeing stuff, that I was doing and was participating in on CNN, on MSNBC, or whatever news network of your choosing. Shit, we got famous. You know, we were famous and no one knew who we were. We were anonymous. And it was powerful. But it was also ego-driven. And that's what my reflection is right now. The ego. And believe me, there were great times, there were sad times, but something happened a few years ago to me that really kind of pushed me to my limits. Mentally, physically. And I didn't want to be part of this plane of existence anymore. It was really a dark time in my life, and a lot of people would describe it as a dark night of the soul, where things, metaphysical things, crazy things. Oh, Anantu World's crazy. Yeah, maybe I am. Maybe I am a little bit crazy, but who isn't, really? If you think about it, there's so many thoughts, so many different beliefs, so many different ways everybody sees the world. No one sees the world exactly the same as you do. They may align with some of the things you believe, but not entirely. So in that sense, your reality that you're experiencing right now is completely different than mine because of everything that you've gone through in your life. So, things in my life began to fall apart. And I'm not going to get into a lot of specifics about it because it's pretty personal. You know, I almost lost my house twice. I almost destroyed my marriage. My life was spiraling out of control. I had deep depression and anxiety. And I got to the point of just giving up and releasing myself from existing in this world. I lost a lot of weight, and the darkness of everything, pretty much darkness, was consuming me. I just hated life. Maybe not hate, but I was objected to it, so I surrendered. I remember that I would cry for hours. I stopped eating. My body was in such intense pain. It was on fire sometimes. All of my joints would it was just so painful. And I didn't know what was really the matter with me. I didn't want to go to the doctor. I just wanted to pass, really. And the physical pain was pretty unbearable. And one day I just closed my eyes and kind of prayed for it all to be over. I didn't know who or what I was praying to. Did I believe in God? No. Do I now? I don't know. I'm kind of still agnostic about it. Excuse me. So when I closed my eyes and was praying this, I felt really cold and I wanted to leave. And so there was like this kind of shift in my reality. It shattered everything. And you don't have to believe it, and I don't really need you to believe it. Perhaps it was just all psychological. I mean, I don't care about judgments. You can judge me all you want, and yeah, that's fine. If shit happens, just, let that be understood. Shit happens. And I don't know. I think something more profound exists beyond this reality that we're experiencing. So I woke in this very dark gray field of rocks, very jagged gray rocks. It was almost like this valley that I couldn't climb out of. And they were dark black, gray, mountains that I just couldn't get over. I was trying to climb out and I was getting scratched and I was hurting. And, that could be contributed to perhaps the joint pain that I was feeling at the time. Sure. But, I looked up and there was this dim light. And it would, just allow me to barely see it. And it's hard to describe because it's almost, it's something that, you'd have to see. But everything almost seemed like it was black and white and gray. And I sat down and I put my head between my hands, and I just sobbed. There was eternal sorrow, the torture of being like this forever, and this was going to be my eternity. Was this hell? No, I don't believe in hell. I believe in emotional triggers, emotional energy, and perhaps this is what I was projecting. All of the pain that I've caused others, to my wife, family, even people that I don't even know in real life on the planet, of what I contributed to Anonymous. Haha for the lulz, but look what I did to that person. That's what I was facing, and I couldn't escape it. I couldn't climb out of that rock valley. I had to face it, and it was right there, in my face, right in my face. So I cried. I felt the pain that I caused other people. And I looked up, and that light was getting bigger. And there was this non-verbal communication that happened. Whatever this thing was telling me that it loved me unconditionally. And I didn't understand the concepts of unconditional love. I thought I did, but I didn't. But what I considered unconditional love was selfish love. That's mine. I own. You don't own anything here. Nothing. You own your own actions, perhaps. You own your own feelings and words. But anything physical or anybody else, you own shit. But this unconditional love I experienced was so warm, and I felt lifted up, and more tears streamed down my face, and I was telling whatever this was, I don't deserve this. I saw flashes of my wife, my son, my dog, my parents, my sister. It isn't about you, it's about everything and everyone. I was baffled. That's what it was pretty much saying. I'm like, I'm no one special. And I wasn't getting it. I didn't understand what this thing was, or this consciousness, my consciousness perhaps, maybe this was, I don't know. It isn't about you, it's about everyone and everything. I love you, I love all. And this was in almost like a vibrational thing, communication, emotional communication. It wasn't telling me this in English. It was an understood thing. I was understanding it. Too many coincidences happened to me. And is it a coincidence? No, I don't think so. I mean, you ask for something, and when it happens, and you're like, wow, this is just crazy. I mean, look up my 4-leaf clover story on my Twitter account, where, I was, asking if the spiritual awakening was real, and I didn't believe, really, seriously, I didn't really believe in any of this stuff before. I was a skeptic. Psychics are nuts, and for the most part, I think that there's a lot of people out there that are just riding the wave, trying to get rich off of it. Like, you'll see these videos on YouTube, which are hilarious, manifest money, immediately by meditating, doing this. No, it doesn't work that way. When I asked if my spiritual awakening was real, I asked for a sign. Can you give me a sign that this issue that I'm going through in my life on this path was real? And I'm like, I don't care who you are, you spirit guides, guardian angels, whatever you want to call yourselves, God, who knows? Let me know if this is real. Well, I found, I think it was 11 4-leaf clovers the next day. And the funny thing before is it was raining in the morning, and I'm outside with my wife, and I joked with her. I'm like, yeah, it's raining. Hey, we should crawl around and look for 4-leaf clovers on the grass, and make the neighbors think we're nuts. And she's like, well, they probably already think we're nuts, and I'm like, yeah, true, So we just went in the house, and it stopped raining, and I was gonna mow the grass. So I started up my lawnmower, and then just like right in my vision, there's a 4-leaf clover. And I'm like, oh, cool, there's a 4-leaf clover. I went and showed my wife. I'm like, check this out. And she's like, oh, that's cool. Started the lawnmower up again, walked 2 feet. There's another 4-leaf clover right in my vision. I wasn't even looking for these things, but there they were. There's another 4-leaf clover right in my vision. And every couple minutes I was finding 4-leaf clovers until I was like, okay, I get it. And then I'd find another one and it would be like, no, you don't get it. You really don't. And it was one of the miraculous moments that, you hear about, other people say, hey, this happened. And you're kind of like, eh. And that was happening to me. It was happening to me. And it brought me a lot of joy, but it also confused the shit out of me. It confused me because my ego was still there. It was I went through an ego death when I had a dark night of the soul, and that was traumatic. But then you get this spiritual ego too, where you don't really want anybody else's input because you know better, but you have to understand that you have to go through that process to drop that ego too and become more accepting as a person. What is acceptance? It's being unselfish, really. You look at other people and they may not, have the same views as you, but you just accept them for who they are and let them continue on. Let them walk their paths. Karma's a thing. I didn't believe in karma before, but I see it every day. When you live in love instead of selfishness, changes happen. There's so many different changes that I'd really like to express, but again, that spiritual ego in me is like, dude, they're gonna think you're crazy. I mean, maybe I am crazy. I mean, I'm still going to my therapist generally to talk about, the spirituality issue. I'm not heartbroken anymore. I am not depressed anymore. I really don't have any anxiety. So why am I in therapy? And, thank goodness my therapist is there for me to listen to all the stuff that I have to tell him, because, he's an open-minded guy and I respect that. I really do. It's heartwarming to know that there are people out there that will listen and guide you, to help you move through these issues, whether they be bad or good in your life. What's the next step? Where's my path leading me? And I bring up paths because it's pretty much, I'll say Buddhist and Hindu specific paths of, understanding, that what you're dealing with on a almost metaphysical level. What guides me? Well, my heart, and that's what a lot of people do is, once they reach a certain state, they look internally and they'll start reflecting on, hey, maybe I should not tell that person to fuck off because that's going to damage me, because it's going to damage me because it's damaging them. And that's why I guess maybe Anonymous was a very key moment in my life, because it was a collective oneness, even though it was split in so many different segments. We were still one entity, weren't we? And I know I'm using past tense, Here I am, Ananchu World, talking about these issues that affect so many people in their lives: depression, anxiety, and maybe part of what I should do is explain how I got out of it, just to help some people out there struggling. And part of the struggle is accepting the struggle. But you have to accept the struggle. You have to accept that shit happens, but that stuff that is happening is also a major learning experience. You think you know love, but are you just being selfish? Are you just wanting that person for yourself? You can love someone unconditionally, unselfishly, and that just means that you're there for them for everything. Even the bad times, you're loving that person, giving them those good vibes. And that changes people. I've seen it. There's a lot of stuff that I have experienced that I do wish to talk about, but I also don't want to tell anybody what to do. I think everyone has the right to believe the way they want, including people who follow other people's messages of, the written word according to blah blah in such and such book. That's fine. But I do think that people need to explore their own person internally, which means shutting it down, taking a deep breath, and just relaxing. Trying to remove all types of thoughts from your mind and becoming one with the universe, at least, just exploring that aspect of oneness. I mean, I believe that the Big Bang did happen, and I believe we're all from that same source. And is that what God is? Maybe. Who knows? Is it conscious? I believe so. I believe that we're part of that consciousness, but we separated somehow. I think we're all divine beings that inhabit these bodies in this physical plane. I think we've fallen into an egoic state of selfishness, and it really needs to stop. And I guess maybe that's why I was so outspoken against the right wing and Trump. And there, believe me, there's leftists out there too that are egoic and selfish. I mean, one thing that I see is a constant hammering back and forth of these ideologies that it's just nitpicking, to be honest. They're nitpicking each other to death. It's like, you don't believe this, you don't believe that. Well, who cares? Life. People ask me, well, what is life? And I look at them like it's what you make out of it. Well, what about that kid starving in the street? Well, someone should feed him, right? What about that kid starving in the street? Life is what you make out of it. Why aren't you feeding him? Everybody needs to understand life is beautiful if we want it to be, but collectively, the selfishness that has embraced humanity is destroying us. You could use any example you want. Well, what about this person? What about that person? Life isn't beautiful for them. Why? They didn't put themselves in that position. Of course they didn't. But what are we doing to help them out of that position? That's a selfishness that needs to be addressed. A lot of people don't understand love, they don't understand compassion, and they don't understand empathy. I don't want anybody to take offense to anything I say, but I am not a religious person. It's a collective effort to improve humanity and progress. Anyways, it's video is pretty long. I've been yammering for a long time now. I just want you guys to know I love you, and I just wanted to make a video just telling you what's going on, and I might make more. I don't want to make these opinionated pieces anymore about who's right and who's wrong. I mean, and I'm only human, so maybe I will fall off that. Maybe I will write something and say, hey, you people over there, why are you doing this? But who am I to do that, really? And who is anybody else? Just because one person doesn't like something doesn't mean everybody has to follow suit. Alright, peace.